Yes, and I'll just let others in the room. Ryan, you can let us know if you're okay in the interest of time, other persons just introduce themselves, or you'll just go ahead and start. Should we continue the introduction, Ryan? Let me see if Ryan, let me just let this person in. Ryan, you're there, right? Let me see. Okay, well, Ryan will get back to us soon. So, with that being said, we have probably two more persons. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Um,
Test. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes, sir. We're hearing you loud and clear. Oh, Julia, you wanted to go ahead? Go ahead.
Hi, sorry. I joined literally like a minute or two after. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what was going on with my laptop, but I'm Julia. I work for Jobskills. Me and Rajbir, we work together. So I'm really excited to collaborate. And yeah, if anyone has any questions for me, please let me know. But I'm really sorry that I was a little late.
All right, no worries. Because yeah, we typically drop in every Thursday just so people can come and ask questions about their entrepreneurship journey. But we did want to take some time at this drop in to let people know it is time to bring in another key person to your business. We need to start hiring, and we want to present a way that there's no excuse anymore. We have rest centers joining us as long as with job skills as well to talk about the hiring program that they put together. And then ACBN, we want to play that role of supporting you in getting locked in, understanding how to build out your payroll, and getting that next key person into your business. So I'm gonna pass it to Jackie, who's been we've done workshops together and supported the youth with entrepreneurship program. But Jackie, if you can give a bit of an overview on REST, and then we'll hand it over to Rajbir to talk more about the job skills program, and then I'll close out on how ACBN can support our entrepreneurs to one, get a hire and take advantage of the incentives that job skills has. So Jackie, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you very much, Ryan, and good evening, everyone. I'm thankful that I'm able to be with you here today, and really happy that this is online because it's so cold today. I just couldn't see myself being outside of my home. So I am genuinely happy to be here, but online. That being said, my name is Jackie Henry, as Ryan mentioned. I am a program lead for an organization called Rest Centers. I'm principally responsible for providing programming around employment, tenant education, and financial literacy. And that is in an organization which has been set up really and primarily to support young youth, particularly Black or racialized youth, who are struggling with housing. Either they are unhoused or they are precariously housed. And what we've done is that we have seen a gap in the kind of service provision. And what we do is that we provide housing for them in the community. And we do this by building relationships with landlords, and, situating them with these landlords so that they're in a sort of a safe and protected environment. Just so you know, the kinds of young people that we work with are young people who, at the age of 18, are coming out of foster care. We work with young people who they've come from other countries by themselves as young people, or we have young people where there's been a breakdown in the home and their parents have asked them to leave. And we have people as young as 16 who were asked, their parents asked them to leave the home and didn't ask them where they were going and what they were going to do. So we've played a really key role in providing that shelter safety and dignity. But then after we've done that, we recognize that we need to provide them with some other supports, like help with finding employment, like, pursuing their passions, like knowing what their tenant rights are, etc., etc. So that's a little bit about REST. But I wanted to speak to you particularly about our work trial program. And that came about last year when I began talking to some of my friends, just some of my network, who were people who were in small businesses where they either had no staff or just like a couple of staff. And I had said to them, this would be a really good opportunity, one, for you to give an opportunity to these youth, to give them their first experience at working in a proper working environment, etc. We would play our part by making sure that they were job ready. And that involves training, workshops, just dealing with attitude to work, attitude towards others, team building, all of those things. We provide that training. We would send them to you, and you would have a member of staff to help your business, to help you grow. Because I set up my own enterprise when I was in the UK, and my first staff changed the game. Suddenly, we were rolling after we had our staff member. But here's the thing, finding money to pay the staff is the real challenge. And so we began to partner with Jobskills and other employment providers. And they are the ones who actually provide the salary for these staff members. So your job is to give them the opportunity to get the help that you would need for your business, but not have to actually fork out the money to pay them. Now, there's a little provisor here, because what happens is that you have to pay them initially and then Jobskills pay them back. But apart from that, once you've been able to make the first sort of payment, you'll get everything back. And then we're not just sending them out, we provide a wraparound supports again to make sure that they are prepared for success. And so we will help them with things like travel, like clothes for work, if they need any specific kind of training. So we, for example, worked with a restaurant in Brampton, and they took 3 of our young people. And one of the things that they needed was a food handler certificate. So even something like that, we would make sure, between ourselves and Jobskills, we would make sure that they were fit for purpose. And then after that, we would carry out the interviews. And so when you interview them, they've already been pre-interviewed. They've already been, like I said, prepared and made fit for purpose. And so then you can then interview, and if it's a good fit, if you feel comfortable, because, we have to be real about these things. The person has to feel like you can work with them. There has to be somebody that you feel like you can, give instructions to and all that kind of stuff. So, if it's a good fit, then, you take that person on. And like I said, you will have to find the initial month, the first month, but after that, you will get your money back from Jobskills. And just to tell you, with the restaurant, the hire that they got from us, she, in her first month of work, was able to break the record. So they had a kind of a loyalty program. And so, when customers came in, she would try to get them to join the loyalty program. And like I said, she broke the record in her first month. So you have this caliber of youth who, just through circumstances, haven't been able to maybe actualize as they would like to. But, through working with us, through our support, through Jobskills support, they are now ready for their first opportunity. And I feel it'd be so great if, as businesses, you would give them that opportunity. And like I said, it wouldn't be just you giving, you would definitely be receiving. And so I think an organizational system that has mutual benefits, who's going to object to that? So that, in a
Absolutely.
nutshell,
Yeah.
that in a nutshell is the work trial program. And thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. And just like you said, we as business owners need to step up and be able to provide these opportunities. If we're serious about growing our companies, we're serious about leaving a legacy, it all starts with building a team around us. And I feel Rest and Job Skills is giving an opportunity for us to bring on those initial team members where we might have all those excuses in the past about why we can't hire somebody, but now I feel like you're alleviating those excuses so that we can get started. So I'll pass it to Rajbir from Job Skills just to maybe drill a bit deeper into the program itself, and then I'll close out and we'll open it up for questions. So Rajbir, the floor is yours. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Jackie, for explaining that so well. Yeah, we work very closely with Jackie for quite a long time now, and it's a great relationship that we have. Again, our goal is to just get these clients employed because they have so many barriers. So it would be a great like platform for them. And that's why I wanted even my coworker Julia to join us today, because we also put out a lot of this support together. She's at the Brampton location. I take care of the Mississauga location. And a little bit about our program. Jackie touched upon it quite a bit, but I'm just going to go into a little bit of a detail where it all just depends on the client's barriers. Of course, incentive is something that is given to us by the government of Ontario as well. So there are definitely certain processes and rules we have to follow as service providers. It all depends on how many barriers the client has, like I mentioned. So the higher the barrier client, the more the incentive goes up. We try our best to get as much incentive as possible, but again, if a client has higher needs, like all of us, like again, it just goes without saying they will have a higher incentive. And what Jackie touched upon, I do want to talk about it a little bit more. We never just send a client like blindly. Every client is screened properly. Every client is gone through the process of a resume, mock interviews, any support that they might need in order for them to be successful is provided by us. We do a lot of one-on-one, so it's not something that we just do in a group and the client is not getting the support that they need. They get a one-on-one support through us. And we have different like amounts and different weeks. My coworker Julia is a little bit better when it comes to explaining the weeks, the 4, 6, 8, and 12. So I would like to hand it over to her for that, if you don't mind.
Thanks, Raji. Again, hi, my name is Julia. I work with Rajbir at Jobskills. And that was a really great explanation, Raji. But just to touch base on how the incentive works, the number of weeks, and the criteria around that. Honestly, with our incentivized, I would say, incentive agreements, they are quite flexible. So let's say the highest amount of weeks that we go up to is 12 weeks. And that's covering pretty much a cost of you training and onboarding that client, right? Let's say this was more, it could be more of like a seasonal position. We can then play around with the number of weeks. It could go to 6, it could go to 4. However, it can't be anywhere below 4 weeks, unfortunately. But you know what? There's always some wiggle room. We have a wonderful manager who has been doing this for so long, and she has like a heart of gold. So anytime that me and Raji have to go to her about something or we have to ask her a little bit more, she's very flexible. And me and Raji can definitely help you out if we have to negotiate a little bit. However, after the incentive is complete, we always hope that the client could sustain employment afterwards. And obviously after that agreement, it doesn't just stop there, right? If a client is really needing some extra assistance, let's say with transportation, or if they're needing something for their uniform, or they're needing a specific certificate to help them advance within their role, those are conversations that me, Raji, and our team and manager can have all together. We want to make sure that we can support the client as best as we can throughout their employment journey. And what's also really great is once the client has found employment or has been hired, we have a client care coordinator that will touch base with them every so often or every couple months just to check in, see how they're doing, and then ask if they're needing any additional support. But yeah, it can I guess I would say the minimum criteria of number of weeks is 4 weeks, and then the highest number of weeks for the incentive program could be 12 weeks. And then just a little note is the client must work a minimum of 20 hours per week. If they go over that, that's wonderful. We hope and we pray that clients get more hours. That's great. But yeah, that's just the minimum, the 20 hours. I'm not sure if I don't think I missed anything, but if anyone has any questions, please
Yeah.
let me know.
And so my challenge to our network is we want to be hiring for 12 weeks minimum, and we want it to extend beyond the 12 weeks. So the one thing that ACBN is going to make sure and work alongside you is that the person coming in, we do want there to be a return on the investment. If you weren't getting the incentive, you'd want to, and this is the plight of hiring everybody that comes into the company, you want that money to be worthwhile that you're spending. So I do know with entrepreneurs, typically it's difficult to set up payroll and get that going. We do need that criteria set. So that's where ACBN is going to support us to get that in place so that you can hire. And then also, we're working on a way to support with that initial upfront cost. So if those are the two reasons. I remember when I was running Detailing Nights and I was going through a hiring program. This was 10 years ago at the Learning Enrichment Foundation, and they had a similar, I think Jobskills actually had an office there. We went through this hiring incentive, and the first thing out of my mouth was, I don't have any money and I don't have payroll. So if that was your initial knee-jerk reaction to not hire somebody, we can help you with that. So please, like, take advantage of this opportunity, because we're going to be giving an opportunity to somebody that is going to be passionate and going to be wanting to prove themselves. And rest, I don't know if we can put it into the chat, the video, the movie that you guys made really shows that we need to give our youth a chance. And this is a great opportunity to get them into our companies so that they can support us in our growth. And as we grow, they grow. So I just want to open it up for questions just to see if there's any clarity that's needed. But if you are looking to hire, we are going to be doing a job fair in about 2 weeks. So you'll be able to meet potential hirees at the Jobskills office. And then beyond that, we're just going to be making sure this program keeps growing, and we're going to be getting the word out to more entrepreneurs so that more youth can be connected. So let me pause there and see if there's any questions. I didn't see any. Let me check the chat just in case. Feel free to put up your hand. All right. Will I be getting update on that job fair? Yes. So everybody that registered will send the information for the job fair to sign up. I believe for this one we have 8 spots and 3 are already taken, so we have 5 spots left. And yes, if you do have positions available, we'll also send you the employer sign up form that Jobskills has, so that we can get started on that. And again, if you have issue with the job for the form, if you have issue with upfront costs, if you have issue with setting up payroll, we're working with payroll providers to support you with that. So we want to make sure we cover all our bases. Question: would Durham be included? Good question. Julia or Rajbir, would there be a job skills in Durham that they would connect to?
So we actually have, so the closest location, I guess, to Durham region would be our Markham office. Um, Unfortunately, we don't really have, like, we have like 6 offices, but I guess like the closest one would be Markham. However, like we have helped clients within like Oshawa, Ajax, Pickering, like to that side of
Mhm.
the GTA. So I think Markham can definitely help with that. However, like me and Rashi can also still be in the loop of things, and we can still be in contact if we were to refer them to Markham, let's say.
Mhm.
But for the most part, like I'm in Brampton, and I've worked with employers in on that end of the GTA. So there's no barrier to that. It's just that if they're looking for something specific, then we can always get our marketing team involved. However, I do think it's something that me and Raji can help with as well.
Excellent. So the translation there is, wherever you are, sign up anyway, and we'll figure it out. We will get this next employee, this next hiree to you wherever you are in the GTA and surrounding areas. Let me see. I don't see any other chat questions. Let me see. Did anyone have their hands up? Okay, I don't see anything else. All right, great. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure we clip this video, so we'll send it out just in case you need a refresher. But the email that goes out will have a breakdown of the program itself. We'll ask you if if you're interested, we'll invite you to the job fair and also get you the forms so that we can start looking to see what you're hiring for and what youth we can pair you with. And then if you do have anything that's still blocking, please let us know, and ACBN will work with you to make sure that we can fill that gap. But Charmaine, I'll hand it back over to you. I apologize. I do have.
Sorry, Ryan,
Oh,
we have our
Sorry,
hand.
yes.
Ryan. Yeah, you had a question. There was a question there about the age of the youth. And
Okay.
so with the youth that we work with specifically are age 16 to 24. So for youth that are coming from our organization, they would be 16 to 24. But I don't think that number applies to Jobskills. But if it's through our program, that's the age range. And just so can I just acknowledge my colleague Elisha? I'm sorry, Elisha, I didn't even see that you were here, but I work with Elisha. She really runs the kind of employment piece in our organization. So just so you know, that's who she is. Thank you.
Hi, good night.
Wonderful. It's good to see you again, Alicia. Fozzie, I think there was a question about remote work. So I believe remote work should be all right. I guess Jackie or Rajbir, you can let me know. Is that okay if a person is hired and they can work remote?
Yeah, that's fine as long as they work 20 hours and more.
Okay, perfect.
Is there a
So one,
limit? Sorry, Ryan. Is there a limit per organization? In terms of placement limit?
So
Is
we
there
had a restaurant that took 3 of our clients one time.
Interesting.
They were expanding. They
Wow.
took 3 staff on, and then the restaurant just went through the roof in terms of business and turnaround, because that's what happens when you've got extra people on board, I think.
Exactly. And I know ACBN, we're looking to bring on at least 2. And as this continues, we're going to be looking to bring on more. Sean, I see your hand up. You can go ahead with your question.
Okay. I don't know if you all are doing this right now, but my job has sort of become sort of strictly AI enhanced. So I don't mind going through training with them, but is there support for them going forward using this as a resume for them for any future jobs or any future positioning? Right, especially since there's barely any sort of availability for certifications and proper training and stuff like that.
Yes, so Sean, it's interesting that you should mention that, because when we got our 3 clients placed with the restaurant, I had said to the restaurant owner, look, I don't want you just to employ them and to make them workhorses. I want you to teach them business. I want you to widen their aspirations. I want you to give them a wider vision of their lives. And so the training isn't just this is how you serve people. The training is about, business and books and accountability and all that kind of thing, because he wants to eventually have a restaurant in Mississauga. And if he's got these people trained to the level that they can be, they could walk into that restaurant and run it for him as a franchise almost. So, that training piece is actually key, I think, to this program. It's not something that we've been able to do as much as we would like to, but I think it's something that, working with people like yourself and others on this call, we could certainly make a core part of this entire program.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
There's
I
another
did
question,
see.
Ryan.
All right. There's 2. I'm sorry, I was late. Does it matter the industry?
That's
I
true, yeah.
don't think so. As long as the job description, they're able to find someone that's able to execute the duties and responsibilities. Right, Jackie? Like, okay. So yeah, industry shouldn't matter as long as the student's able to has the skills to do the work. And also if you're able to train them up to do it, that should work as well. Can we provide a job description from the employer side so youth can decide if it's a good fit for them? Yes. So that's typically how it would start. You would sign up as an employer, fill out the form, and then provide your job description for the roles that you have available. That's when Rest and Jobskills would go through their database and say, okay, is there a fit? Does there need to be additional training to find somebody for that job description? So yeah, if you sign up and provide the job description, that would be the first step.
We have some hands up, Ryan.
Awesome. Barry, yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah, good day. So I was also late. I apologize. So generally in the hiring, some programs you have to bring them officially on your payroll and like pay deductions at source, CPP, EI, etc. Is this the same in this program and situation?
It is. So yes, that's typically the two barriers that even I've gone through myself. So bringing a person onto your payroll, if that is something you haven't done, ACBN does have resources to help with that getting set up. And then also that initial outlay of capital, the cash that you need to pay them, let's say for the first 4 months, if that's a barrier as well, ACBN is working internally to be able to alleviate that for entrepreneurs. So if those are the two main reasons that somebody wouldn't sign up, I would say talk to us and we can see how to fill that gap for you so that we can get you at least a hire to start with.
Okay, number one's okay. That's why I asked the question to bring them on officially. But yeah, that's great to know that there might be resources to help maybe with the initial capital and then get reimbursed from there. So all right, I'll be in touch for sure. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes, we want to make sure we can create as many opportunities as possible. No more excuses. Whatever's blocking us, we will get it fixed. So, I did see another hand, but did I miss it? Who was that? Oh, our Dylan. Did you
Yes.
want to go ahead? Thanks, Barry, for the question.
Yes. I just want to say that just want to like point out a couple of things. The job description part for sure. And then another question was about the payroll, all of that. When we do send the employer registration form, we cannot start any of the processes unless and until the registration form is filled. It's not like a contract, it's just to kind of make sure that you are in our system and we know that, there's a CRA business number, like the registered business number, which is really needed on that form, and your address and everything for the future, because when we send the money, it's through a check. We do not send it any other way. It's through a check. So all that information is important. I do want to really be transparent about something else as well. Which is that, let's say a business we're working with, and Jackie has some clients and we would like to send those clients over. Let's say one particular business is hiring for 10 people to come on the program. We will try our best to get you as many incentives as possible. However, we are also on a budget, and because we want to make sure all of the employers are getting enough support, some of those clients will be direct hires and some of them will be through an incentive. So it's the best of both worlds. Again, like Julia mentioned before, we always want the best for the client as well as the employer. We want them to feel supported. So if the employer has a little bit extra need, there's always ways to work around it. Julia, Jackie, and Latifa, our manager, we can always get into a meeting and try to figure a way out. But I do want to let you know that it's going to be a mix of direct hires as well as the incentive. But maybe let's say the clients who are not hired through an incentive, all of the other support that they might need in terms of training, any certifications, any transportation, we will take care of all of that. So the client needs certain materials, certain clothing, we can help with that. So I just want to be very transparent on that. But we can always try to make it work for the employer.
Yeah, and this is where we're really bridging the relationship with our network. So you would be able to meet with Rajbir and her team one-to-one. Jackie would reach out to you. So you'd be able to create that relationship with Jobskills directly. So and it's customized to what you need for your business. So don't feel like it's some cookie cutter you have to fit in whatever the job description is or what supports you need additional for people that you're going to bring on. You'd be able to talk to your account manager about that as well. Let's see, Sean, you can go ahead.
Yeah, one other thing too. In terms of bringing in someone, not like I would want to bring someone in from the cold, but would I have to, what if I present certain requirements for them? For example, a laptop, or if they're working remote, do they have access to internet and all of that stuff? Is that something that we can work together to figure out, or do you have your certain set of protocol that I would have to follow in cases like that?
If you're asking, Julia, do you want to say something? I heard you. Okay, were you saying something?
I feel like you and I were gonna answer the question the same, but
Yeah,
I
go
don't know
ahead.
how.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Un Unfortunately, if the client is working remote, in the past, we were able to support them with a laptop. However, we have come into, I guess, what would be the word? I guess difficulties when we're providing client laptops, just because then it comes a habit of every client getting a laptop, and then there could be some issues that have happened in the past. So unfortunately, we're not able to provide laptops. However, if a client is a recipient of Ontario Works, their Ontario Works caseworker can actually help them in getting a laptop. So it might not be directly through Jobskills. However, we can revert to their Ontario Works caseworker to help them with that support.
And to just add on to that, a lot of
Mhm.
clients are already on Ontario Works, which helps a lot as well. They get supports from both sides, and we have a very strong relationship with each and every client's caseworker in Ontario Works. So let's say, like how Julia mentioned, even though we don't do it directly, let's say that the client, the only barrier to them getting a job or getting employment is a laptop. So what we do is that we work together, and then if that is the need, we try to work and get that client that's like, providing it through them. So there's always like multiple ways for the client to get the support that they need.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. That is great to know. Thank you, Sean, for the question. Ellen, you can go ahead. Thank you. Thank you.
I was wondering, what happens if you know a youth that would possibly fit the situation of the criteria? Can you recommend them to get into the program? Is that possible as well too?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
Mm,
Yeah, as long
okay.
as they're within the age range, that's
And age range again is 18 to 25, correct?
16 to
Oh, 16 to
24.
25,
Yeah.
24. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
I just want to add one thing, sorry. But yes, that's fine. Like if you know of someone that would fit the criteria and you think that they would be a great addition to the team, 100%. We just want to make sure, like as job skills, part of our protocol is the client just has to be registered and complete an assessment prior to being hired. But that's
Okay,
pretty
of course.
much, yeah, but that's honestly pretty much the only criteria that we're looking for. But it's just to kind of help us, I guess, stay organized and throughout the entire process. That's just how to start it. But great question. Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Thank you.
We have some
Wonderful.
questions in the chat, right?
All right, let me check. Oh, what if I know a youth? Thank you for asking that. Will a nonprofit qualify? Yes, I think that is fine. ACBN is a nonprofit, and we will be hiring. So same criteria as long as you have payroll set up that you can hire and put them on payroll and be able to have the upfront payments, you would get reimbursed. So yes, for-profit and nonprofits would qualify. Will this recording be sent out? Yes. Once we clip this section, we will send it out to all those that registered and have it available so that people can watch it. If you know others that might have missed it, please do share it with them. And we'll also put an outline in the email that goes out with the recording so that you have the information and the contact details for Jackie and her team at Rest, and also Raspberry Julia and the team at Jobskills. All right. What is required for organizations to run payroll? This is where getting in contact with ACBN to understand the process to set up payroll. It's really registering with the CRA and then having a payroll system, usually within your bookkeeping system. So if you don't have it, please do follow up and we'll help you get that set up. And we also work with payroll provider services. So different companies that can also help manage it for you if it's something that you really don't have the time to run it, although I wouldn't encourage you to learn it. But yes, we do have access to those resources as well. So we could definitely follow up with you, Fazia. All right. What is the vetting process for the prospective employee? Again, my apologies if this one. Yeah, Jackie, do you want to touch on, I guess, the process you guys do go through with the youth you work with?
Yes, of course. Yes. So we will generally have a range of different interventions, you could say, with them. So we bring youth in and we have one-to-one sort of employment coaching with them. We also have workshops. And when we have a job ready workshop, we are talking to them about attitude, behavior, time management, taking responsibility, just recognizing, all the skills that they need, both in terms of their character, but also soft skills, like being able to, work within a team, being able to communicate effectively, being able to write something effectively, those kinds of things. We haven't got to the point where we're able to help them around, for example, Excel and those kinds of more sophisticated. But again, those are things which, if it's required for the job, we can likely work with Jobskills to see how we can get them external training on those kinds of things. After that, like I said, there is this interview process that we take them through, quite a rigorous interview process, where they are, they're given strong feedback on how they did, their body language, how they presented themselves, how well they spoke, because we're not we have a responsibility to give them a sense of what is reality. And if you can't articulate yourself properly, it's not going to exactly, be attractive to an employer. So, we're very real about what it takes to be job ready. And like I said, the term fit for purpose is key because, like I said, it's about making sure they have the strong communication skills, they have the presentation skills, even what they wear, we will give them some guidance on that. So it's quite a rigorous process for sure.
Also, I just want to add, I feel like the job fair that we're going to be doing, even at that job fair, that is the reason we're doing it because the employers will have the opportunity to interview the individuals there present at the day of. There's a designated spot for each employer. You have your privacy, so you'll have the time to kind of get to know the client, what their skills are. And also, we can always collaborate with Jackie, and any of these clients need any extra support, even before the interview, for any workshops, all of that. We have like 2 workshops or at least more than that each week. And all of these workshops are catered to what the client's needs are. And every time there is a job fair, we organize a one-on-one workshop for these clients. So how to be job ready, how to be interview ready. So nothing is left to like guessing. Everything has a structure to it. So we really do prep the client.
Amazing. I really want somebody to raise their hand that is not going to hire somebody. I want to hear the most ridiculous excuse that you have. What is your reason for not hiring? I see 25 people on here. I'm expecting 25 hires. So I appreciate everybody taking your time to be with us. As I said, we want to work with you to make sure you get at least your next best hire. We'll figure it out. This incentive, this grant, I want to thank Jobskills for being able to keep the program running. I know these types of incentive programs have been around for a while, and I feel ACBN can help bridge that missing link that the employers just have more spots available so that there's no youth unemployed. Especially, we need to max out Jobskills. They shouldn't be giving back money. Like, let's max it out. So I will stop there. Charmaine, I'll let you finish off the rest of the drop-in. My apologies, I do have to go to another presentation, but thank you again, Rajbir, Julia, the team from Jobskills, and Jackie for making the connection. And from here, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing how many youth we can hire, and let's keep the number growing. So thanks again.
Oh, we want to thank Ryan. He jumped off. So, any other question? Anyone that came in late that would like further explanation how the process goes?
Yeah, hi, Charmaine. It's Tanya. I didn't hear because I came in late. So I didn't hear what it was all regarding because I am interested in a job training program. I actually wanted to create a job creation program and then in turn be able to buy distressed companies and then have them trained in those in certain high level jobs and then they could work in the companies that I'd buy when I'm able to set up my private equity fund. So, can I hear more about what that's regarding?
Who wants to go first? Just a brief summary, just to close out. Rest centers, you can start, and then Julia or whichever person that represent the organization that wants to close out, just wrap up, give a summary for those who are just joining, and just to give a final push to what this cause, this awesome cause is about. Go ahead, please.
So very briefly, we have a work trial program which brings sort of youth from marginalized communities, racialized communities, together with employers for them to get real life experience, maybe an opportunity to understand the business world. And then we are working in partnership with Jobskills to actually pay the employers to employ the young people.
Okay. And then what type of jobs? Is it just young people? Because I don't want to just hire young people. I want to hire adults that are low income that need higher income job that eventually they could, because the other distress model I want to do is buying residential homes. So I would want them in high level skilled jobs that they would be able to qualify for rent to own and then eventually buy those homes through us. And then they could be rented out to them as well. So I'd want it to be a two-strand where they get the skills and train, and then we can put them in companies that we buy, and then also if they're wanting to be a homeowner, that they'd have an option to do that as well.
Well, from REST point of view, we only work with youth age 16 to 24.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure about job skills. I don't know if there are any limitations with them, so maybe they can address that question.
Hi, Tanya.
Before we address that question, Rest, I know you gave your summary, but there was one key factor that you mentioned that the employer would have to do what? The first month payment would have to come from the employer and then they would be reimbursed, right? The first month.
Correct.
Right,
Yes.
and that's where ACBN, Ryan had mentioned that ACBN is here to give that capital support for those who would like that first injection of payment to the employee. We would provide that and we would be liable for the reimbursement. So I
Okay.
just wanted to add that so we can move on now. Thanks.
Yeah. Hi, Tanya. To answer your question, Jobskills doesn't have any age limitations. We work with all clients as long as they have like a work permit, PR, Canadian citizenship, all of the clients.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot of older clients who have been out of work or who've been looking for more support. So yeah, and a lot of these clients have also been with us for a couple of years as well. Like it's been constant support for them, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. So we do have that clientele.
Okay. All right. And then in terms of the job training, what kind of job training is it?
For the older clients,
Mm-hmm.
it would be the same. It's the same like contract for all clients. We work with every industry, so any kind of needs that the client would have, we would just help the employer with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
just to clarify, so there is no age limit for job skills. So it could be any age as long as they're coming from marginalized backgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, that's
perfect.
good. That's good.
Okay, thank you. And is there like a website that we could like follow through around this
Yeah.
particular opportunity that we can follow?
Yeah.
I
We
can
also
put
have our
our
own job
website in the
board
group chat. I can
on
put our
there.
website in the chat
Yeah.
if that if
Do you
that's
want to put
helpful.
it, Julia?
Of course, no problem.
Awesome. And as Ryan just said, who right now is not thinking of taking on hires? Who is not gonna be employing anyone from either organization at this moment because it's definitely works both ways where you'll benefit with the value that's being brought to your organization, and we will be helping the community, the society at large, and working along with these two organizations that's their mandate, and we definitely want to give them support. So, is there anyone with any questions?
I just had a couple more questions. This is a really great opportunity. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I just wanted to know, is there after the 12 weeks, is it, I think there is a limit of up to 12 weeks, but obviously the aim is for the youth to work with the companies long term. So I just wanted to clarify the limits, the minimum maximum limit in terms of time. Again, I know that was already mentioned. I just wanted to just clarify that. And then at the end of the program, is there a KPI or in terms of deliverable that the employer side has to provide for Jobskills or rest centers? In terms of any deliverables at the end, a survey, what is there any type of KPIs, deliverables that we have to do on our end? And then just to clarify, eligibility for the youth, it just for Jobskills is just any age, marginalized. Is there any other criteria?
As per Jobskills, there's no other. Julia, is something coming to your mind? Like, I don't think so. There's any other things that we require.
We don't necessarily require anything. What I would probably say is it's really good to connect with the client, or we do connect with clients still, but oh my God, sorry, if you hear like little bells, it's my dog. But if let's say after the 12 weeks or however long the incentive agreement is, we always like to check in with the employer just to see if they have any feedback, just for us to kind of take that back and learn a little bit more about the client and if there's any additional support they're looking for. But overall, we just want to know how successful the client is and how well they're growing within your company. But that's pretty much it. Like, there's not really much else that we require from you afterwards. Um, I think for the most part, that's all.
I do want to mention one more thing. Jobskills is actually going to be pushing out a new initiative. So more information to come out about it, like in the New Year's, which is great. Like even if you hired the client, you can still get that kind of support. We're working on this employer training program, especially for employers in the community who might need extra support for their staff trainings and all of that. And that has a whole different aspect to it as well. We also help employers advertise. So when you work with Jobskills and Rest Center clients, there's a lot of support that there is for you to make sure that you're successful and you're able to hire as many clients as possible. Because again, like Jackie mentioned, I'm just going to circle back on that. Our priority is to get the youth employed. So yeah, that's another thing that I really wanted to mention. So as we work together further, there's going to be lots of opportunities for the employers to just expand.
Thank you. Rest, I think you had mentioned that the expectation is for not less than 20 hours per week, but they can go over. And what happens if an employer decides that they need them for, let's say, 25, 30?
So I have a recent client who began working with an employer, and he's doing 32 hours a week, which he's extremely happy about. And of course, the employees are happy about that. So, I think that kind of 25 to 32, 33 type mark is fine. For this particular program. And to answer the other question that came beforehand, from REST perspective, no, there are no KPIs or particular outcomes that we would definitely be looking for. That being said, we too will visit the client in office or in their sort of work setting, if that's possible. And obviously, just check in from time to time. But apart from that, that's it.
I have another question, please. What
Mhm.
if the situation is that the employer decides to go ahead, they have the capital to pay for that first month, and they're waiting for the reimbursement? What's that reimbursement period? How long is that reimbursement period for? And what does the employer have to do to ensure that he gets it in motion?
Are you, sorry, talking about the reimbursement period after you get the incentive? Is that what you're talking about?
the first month, I think it was rest. Did you mention that the first month the employer would make that payment and then they would be reimbursed?
It just all depends on how many weeks of incentive is done with you. Every incentive is going to be different for every client and every employer. It's all based on needs. And also, we have a system that calculates the amount automatically. So none of it is numbers that we put in. We're very transparent even with the employers. So sometimes we even get the employer on the call and we do the contract in front of them to see that it's the computer that kind of calculates it based on the client's barriers. Now, to answer your question, the reimbursement period kind of really varies. Let's say you're doing an 8-week program, 8-week incentive. We can either pay you at the end of it after the 8 weeks, but if you think, oh, that's a long time to pay, I think we can split it in between and pay you once at the end of the 4 weeks. But like Julia mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we cannot pay like before the 4 week ends because we need that consistency. And the reason we ask for that is because of the timesheet and all of that. We really need to see how many hours the client worked and all of that. So again, all of this information is getting put into a system, so the system will not accept certain things. If it's less than 20 hours, if it's less than 4 weeks, all of that. Am I right, Julia? Am I getting the answer? Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for that explanation. I see Sean. You have a question? Sean, you may be on mute. Are you talking?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Okay, okay.
Sorry. What is the base salary for the employee? Is that something we negotiate, or do you have a standard amount that you set for them?
We actually have a standard amount. So the client must be making minimum wage. So right now, minimum wage in Ontario is $17.60. So as long as they make $17.60 or more per hour, then that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up with that. So if I want to bring in students that are tech-based or in more finance positions and such, so they require maybe higher hourly, that's okay. Like as long as we're paying it and it can get reimbursed, it could be like $30 an hour, $35 an hour, doesn't matter.
Nope, doesn't matter at all. That's totally fine.
All right, perfect. Awesome.
Just to clarify around that as well. So if it's depending on the employer to do the rate, but in terms of the reimbursement, it's you mentioned that it's based on a computer system that looks at the barriers. So is it still going to be 100% reimbursement, or is it going to be based on the barriers and then it will readjust? So if the employer says $30 an hour, and then the computer calculation does a little bit less, is it then the organization will have to pay the difference, or is it if they set aside 30 an hour, Jobskills will provide 100% reimbursed? I just wanted to clarify that, if that makes sense.
No, that's a great question, actually. And that's the question that we get asked pretty frequently, just because every agreement will look different based on, the client's barriers, right? Some clients may have more barriers to employment than others. So we also have to put that into consideration when we're processing these agreements. But an agreement will never be 100%, but on some agreements, if someone is more, higher in barriers, the max we can do is 95% reimbursement.
Yeah, awesome. Keisha is also here representing ACBN. Do we see any more questions in the chat, Keisha, while I just look if there are any more raised hands?
Today I've joined as a listener. I'm on the road driving, so I can't
Oh,
see the
okay. Awesome. Well, as we said, we will have this recording available. I see where someone mentioned do not have an office in Ottawa, although we recommend another service provider within the catchment area. And there was a last question here. Let me just go down, make sure does the reimbursement include taxes for the payroll? I think we covered that already. No? And someone is asking, they're not so sure who is the client, the employee or the employer. So the client I was gonna explain, but you wanna explain that and then we'll take a question from Casada. So when you refer to client,
The client is the not the employer, it's the client that we work with. So it's either going to be the client from the Res Center or a client from Jobskills, but mostly the Res Center. So that's a client for us. An employer, we're just going to address them as employer.
yes, thank you. The client are the persons that they're trying to place in organizations. Okay, Casada?
Hi, I just wanted an explanation as to what a barrier is in the previous response.
Um,
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, a barrier can be anything. A barrier can be even someone who's racialized. For us, we look at it as a barrier. Someone who's a newcomer, that's a barrier. Someone who's a refugee claimant, that's a barrier. Someone who has a disability, that is a barrier. Even if they state to us that they have any like mental health conditions, that's a barrier. If the youth or the client, anyone who has had a previous criminal record, again, I know we hear the word criminal record and we think the worst. Sometimes it's just simply as like, they were younger, they did something like even something as stealing from a store that goes on their record. But we don't believe that that should be a reason for a client to not get employed. So even that is looked at as a barrier. And again, all of these things are mentioned, like done through with us through our common assessment, which is our like questionnaire. Like Jackie mentioned, we go through it very thoroughly and we like to help everyone. And you can always stay in touch with us for any of those questions. But yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to understand the relationship between barriers and payments. You said that the higher or the more barriers, you'd reimburse up to a certain percentage, and I was just trying to understand that relationship.
Yeah. So I can explain a little bit on that. So how it works, to keep it very simple, when Jackie refers a client to us, we do a questionnaire. The questionnaire is not something that we've made up. It's a standard by the Ontario government, which all of Employment Ontario service providers uses. So all of us use the same questionnaire. That questionnaire asks a series of questions. It could be their housing situation. It could be their previous employment, how long they've been unemployed, all of this personal information. And at the end, it gives us a stream. The system calculates it by itself based on the stream. If it's a stream A, that means the client is independent and they don't have a lot of barriers. They're good to work. Then we have a stream B, which could be a client that's kind of in the middle, like moderate. They can work independently, but they still have some sort of barriers they need assistance with. And then we have a client, stream C, who is like completely a lot of different barriers. They're a newcomer, they're racialized, they have a criminal record, they have a disability. All of these things is in a client C. Based on what stream we put in the incentive, again, incentive is also very like say the same for all service providers. It calculates the amount of percentage that the client will get. So a stream C is more likely to get a 95% comparatively to a stream B might get a little bit less, maybe 10% less, 20% less. That's how it kind of works. Again, like we said, we always have ways of working around it though. So even if sometimes it's a stream B, but we see that there's a lot of other stuff that the client could, get help with. If we even have the budget, we make sure the client sometimes could end up getting a 95% incentive. We just placed a client through Jackie, and the client was a stream B, and they still ended up getting the 95%. So it's just on the needs.
And 95% of what the wage would be? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Julia, do you wanna?
So 95% of like the total amount on the agreement. So let's say that we have someone, for example, there was a client that I had placed today. They're getting paid $17.90 an hour for 20 hours per week over a 12-week duration. And they got the 95% because they were a stream C and because they did have multiple barriers. So the reimbursement for that employer, for example, was around $4,000. So we're pretty much reimbursing you 95% of what you have paid the client over that 12-week period.
Okay, I think I get it now.
Yeah, so we're pretty much like giving you the money back, but not 100%. We're giving you back 95%.
I
And
see.
in order for us to also provide you like the full amount that's agreed upon the agreement, all the client has to do is work the minimum 20 hours. Now, let's say, because we've had this happen before, like within Jobskills, and it's totally normal. Like sometimes we have clients that call in, sometimes we have clients that aren't able to attend or they didn't make up their hours. The agreement could look a little bit lower if the hours that were agreed upon are below the 20 hours a week, if that makes sense. I know it gets a little bit complicated, like when we're looking at all these different numbers, number of weeks and percentages, but I guess just to like stick to the question, 95% reimbursement will be paid back to you from what you've paid the client over the 12 weeks.
Yes, Sean will just take in the interest of time, we just allow two more questions. Sean, you can go ahead before you go ahead. I just like to mention for those who came in late, there was an earlier question which I'm sure would interest you, is that these jobs can be hybrid. They can be remote and they can be in office. And if they are in office and there are certain requirements in terms of transportation, how they dress, etc., then the organization would facilitate that. So with that being said, Sean, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Charmaine, just quickly, can the employee live in another province? Or it does have to be Ontario because it's an Ontario government program?
We've worked like with an HR person that was in Winnipeg. Is the client supposed to be working in that province, or are you saying the person is just there, but the
My
business
business is Ontario, but I'm thinking of a youth that that resides in another province, Quebec, for example. So I just want to make sure there's no barriers in regards to they have to be residing in Ontario.
Yeah, to get the incentive, I think, yeah, and to get the employer, yeah, it would have to be in Ontario.
They have to reside in Ontario. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
However,
Last
if the
person. Sorry.
employer was in another province and they were hiring client out of Ontario, that could work. That is no problem.
Okay, that's a valid point. Sean, you will be closing the floor. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. Just want to ask this question on the flip side of things. If we run into an employee that is overwhelmed, or because I'm teaching something very new or training that person in something that's very, very new. And sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming because it's basically new knowledge. What's the support system like on your end to be able to help them, therefore help me, even if it works for them as well or it doesn't?
So I think I'll go ahead, Julia.
Oh, no, I feel like I'm sorry. I feel like I've been talking so much. I feel bad. It's okay. You were going to talk first.
Yes, go ahead, Rez. Yeah. Oh, Rez, go ahead. She gave you that
Okay, all right.
leeway.
So Julia can speak to what supports may come after, but the key thing is, and I want to say this to everybody who is potentially thinking about employing a member of staff, it's really important to be completely upfront with them about what it is that they're going to be doing and what your expectations are. I think that if we don't give expectations and make those, very, very clear, then there's an opportunity for there to be, a misalignment in the communication. And so, I will ask Jobskills to speak to the after support, but in terms of the initial induction and onboarding, it's really, really important for you to be very clear about your expectations and to, really lay on the table for your new hire. And also, if it's really sort of very unique in terms of what they have to do, you can let us know because we can prepare them for what is coming. And I'll give you a quick example.
Okay.
We had some youth who went into production, so they were production assistants. And, there were certain things that they couldn't do. So they, for example, they couldn't eat the director's food. I mean, it's something as simple as that. But we
Right.
had to really make it clear to them that this is the do's and these are the don'ts, and you don't
Right.
cross any lines. And it was fine. They understood what they had to do. The communication was clear, and they did a very good job. So yeah, it's really important for you to set expectations from the get go.
Of course.
Okay, thank you, Julia.
I think Jackie said it perfectly, and I think that's something
Okay.
that Jobskills does as well. I know that a lot of clients that we do support, we have to take into consideration that some of them may not have worked in a really long time, or some of them have never worked at all, or could be new to the country and they don't really understand like the Canadian dynamic of a working environment, right? So there could be things that they might not know. Okay, I don't do that. Okay, I should do this. So I think what's important is to be flexible and have a bit of patience, but know that you'll have the support from the Rest Center and from Jobskills. And we build such a strong relationship with our clients. So if, let's say, for some reason, they may not feel comfortable relaying the message to you as the employer saying, what, I might not feel comfortable, or I don't know how to do this and I don't feel like I'm performing well. A lot of the time they'll kind of vent to us. And so we'll be able to also touch base with them and touch base with you as the employer and be like, listen, this is what's going on. Let's figure out maybe like a way for them to feel a little bit more comfortable, or a way for them to, build their skills and confidence a little bit more. Sometimes in the past, like I've gone to an interview and like an onboarding shift with a client, and this may not be for every single employer. However, it did really help the client fully understand the do's and the don'ts and how to be confident in their new position. So it's like little things like that. And I think, like Jackie said, being transparent with them and having them really understand the do's and the don'ts. But if there's ever a situation that comes up where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, this client did X, Y, and Z, let us know, be transparent with us, and we'll try our best to navigate it with you.
Thank you
Okay.
so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
With that being said, we really wanted to close out. Sorry if we're not able to address. I don't know if you have 2 minutes to. There's someone who said they didn't hear about the taxes, and so for the payroll reimbursement, are the taxes for the payroll reimbursement included? Maybe that was said. If that was said already, then we can just verify that because we'll be giving the recording out if it wasn't addressed. Anyone want to do that in quickly?
I don't believe they are, Raji. I don't know if I'm wrong, but I don't think the taxes are included,
No.
right?
And I
And the
think,
holidays and any holidays are not included as
yes,
well.
yeah, yeah. And I think there was another question which asked, I just glanced over it, which was said, like, is gender a barrier? Yes, yes, it is. Yeah, gender is considered a barrier as well. So is sexual orientation. That is also another barrier that is considered. All of these things are in our common assessment, like I mentioned before. So yes, these are all different barriers that are considered.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'm sure in the chat we have the contact information, and we'll be sending the recording out. What is the average reimbursement rate? Oh my goodness, we have to stop. Oh my. What is the average reimbursement rate? Is that a quick answer? You're on mute, Julia.
Oh, sorry. When you're asking about average, are you talking about like percentage, or like the total cost being reimbursed to you? Because I don't like it. Again, it's kind of different, right? It all depends on the number of weeks. It depends on the client's barriers, the percentage. It also depends on how much the client is being paid per hour. It's all kind of a percentage. The highest amount of percentage is 95%.
Thank you so much. That
Also,
was so informative. We
sorry,
had
I'm
someone
asking what
talking.
like the average is. Like, do you guys know?
like average percent wise, like the highest amount of percentage that we're able to reimburse is 95%.
And the lowest?
Sorry?
And the lowest amount?
I think I want to say 50.
Yeah,
But
50.
that's like rare. Like
Yeah, that we never do that
never
low.
really see
It's
50.
never really that low.
But I think it's around 50.
Yeah.
Okay. Great,
Awesome. Awesome. We just want to thank you for the presentation from both organizations. This is definitely a collaboration that we want to get involved in, that we should want to get involved in. And it's really coming together to help the society at large, to help the youths, to help the underprivileged, whatever category, those who are facing barriers. And it has been a very informative presentation, and we will be sharing the recording, and we will also let you know what part ACBN will be playing. I saw a question there as well. We weren't able to address that, but we will provide that information. Thank you again. And for those who will be coming to our other drop-ins, we're here every Thursday. When we're not going to be, we'll let you know. We'll know that the festive season is coming in. We may not have the last two drop-ins in December, but we'll let you know. But we're here next week talking about accessing funding with Chris Bedcoe. So see you next week, same time at 6:30. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And thank you again, all. I'll give you back your night.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, all.
Good night.